Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest, 8-second gaming, and some huge news about Season 19's just dropped because the gameplay trailer came out, some patch notes came out, there's a lot going on, so let's jump straight into it. But if you guys are looking to take your Apex skills to the next level, then you need to check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there we have top level coaches, including myself, creating the best, most highly informative guides to make you the best player you could possibly be. We have legend guides, gun guides, VOD reviews, and we cover so many different topics. No matter what you struggle with as a player, we will have a solution for you. So click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, and start to improve today. But okay, with that out of the way, let's hop into things. And of course, we have to start things off with the new legend Conduit. And we know Conduit's full ability range. There were some leaks, there was a bunch of stuff that had been changed, it was wild, but this is the confirmed things by Apex. So first off, her passive Savior's Speed. Conduit gains a burst of speed when running towards allies out of tactical range. Now from the leaks, this is supposedly a 40% speed boost, but we don't know the numbers just yet because the full patch notes haven't come out yet. But if the leaks are true and it is 40%, that will make her as fast as Octane when he has stimmed. That would be absolutely insane. But next up is her tactical radiant transfer. With this, you send out a surge of energy to a teammate, generating temporary shields while also receiving a similar buff. Now there is also going to be some shield regeneration in there, but apparently it is paused if a player takes damage. This seems really cool and allows your teammates to get a buff while they are in the middle of a fight, so it could be some really cool moments and clutch plays with this. I'm excited for it. And then her ultimate is called Energy Barricade. With this, Conduit deploys 7 shield jamming devices that damage and slow enemies, but the devices are destroyable. Now the wording on this is a little weird and it is leaving people kind of confused because the shield jamming isn't quite defined. Does it mean that you can't regenerate your shield, so you can't pop a cell or battery? Or does it mean that the shield just straight up doesn't work on you because it's being jammed, so you're only going to be taking flesh damage? I'm not quite sure. The second option seems a little bit more overpowered, but again, it's just a little bit weird, so we're gonna have to wait for the full patch notes. But now next up we have the Stormpoint map updates, and there are a lot of things happening to Stormpoint. Mainly there are 4 brand new POIs coming into it, with also 2 of the existing POIs getting reworked. This is because Respawn understands that not everyone enjoys Stormpoint. It was a map that was made for ranked in mind, and they overtuned it a little bit too much for that side of the game, so the vast majority of the player base wasn't very happy with it because they think it's mainly a looting simulator map. So to try and combat that, Respawn is doing a bunch of these changes. Now, one of the new POIs is Watson's Pylon. This is going to be Watson's Town Takeover. So because of that, there are going to be a few gimmicks inside, like how Lifeline's medic area can call down a care package, Crypto's map room can scan the entire map. With this one, there is going to be a charge tower at the center of the POI and an integrated gravity cannon that will launch players to the reworked Forbidden Zone. And they are pretty cryptic about what the final details of the POI are going to be because they just say Watson's room on the top floor is also home to some particularly interesting details. Now they could go any direction with that because Watson's whole thing is electricity, so it could be something along those lines. But Watson's lore also has a lot to do with the ring, so maybe it'll be a way to see where the next ring is going to be located. There's a few different directions they could go. I'm really excited for this town takeover. The other ones are going to be Zeus and Cedo Station, Echo HQ and Coastal Camp, and the Devastated Coast. Now the Devastated Coast is kind of a POI rework, but not really at the same time, because Devastated Coast is where Fish Farms used to be. Now Fish Farms was a very strong spot to drop. A lot of people like going there. But it seems like this new POI is going to be pretty strong at the same time because of the amount of loot that's there, but also there's going to be a lot of different spots to play, so the end games are going to be pretty interesting from what we can see with the picture. Now next up, the IMC armories are going to be offline. They're just going to be ravaged husks of the armories. There will still be some high tier loot, but the Spectres will no longer be there, so you're not going to have to defend wave after wave, and it will no longer be smart loot from what I can tell. They will still be good spots to go for supplementary loot, but they won't be as strong as they used to be. And last up, we have the 2 reworked zones, Forbidden Zone and Lightning Rod. Now the Forbidden Zone is where the Prowler Den used to be. Some people called it Jurassic. It was kind of that big area in the middle of the map. They've added a few buildings to it, a little bit more loot, so it's now going to be a pretty viable drop spot, and also the Prowlers will no longer spawn in there. So you will no longer have to deal with them while running through the area. And they also have reworked Lightning Rod. It's a little bit smaller and more compact than what it used to be. This is because Respawn is shrinking the entirety of Stormpoint, so there's going to be a lot less area to play around. This is going to help combat the looting simulator slow feel that Stormpoint had, but as a side effect, yes, Lightning Rod is getting hit by a little bit of a size reduction. But those are all the Stormpoint changes. Let's move into the next thing, which is huge for everyone. This is going to be cross progression. Yes, it's finally here. Now there are a few things that do come with this. this, first off, your accounts have to merge. If you have multiple accounts on multiple different platforms, they are going to merge. The highest level account will be the master account. But when you do merge, your stats are not going to merge. So if you have a bunch of kills on one account, a bunch of kills on the other account, they are not going to merge, it seems like. However, it does seem like your cosmetics are going to merge. And because your highest level account will be the master account, your experience will be the same on every account. They've worded it a little weird, they're kind of cryptic about a few things, but it does seem like you will keep your cosmetics across every platform. So if you had an heirloom on PC and you didn't have one on your PS4 account, if you merge them when you play PS4, you will still have that heirloom. But that is cross progression, so let's move into the next thing, and that is going to be a ranked update. Yes, we are getting some changes to ranked. Hallelujah, because ranked right now is still in a pretty bad state. Now with this, they are going to be adding promotional trials. And what promotional trial means is as soon as you are going to move into a new rank, you are going to have to pass a trial, for lack of better words, in order to prove that you are actually ready for that next rank. Now they have not stated what these trials are going to be, so we don't know quite yet, but a good example that has been floating around is in the next 5 matches, you have to either win one of those matches or get top 10 plus 3 kills / assists 3 separate times. This is sort of akin to League of Legends with their promos, where you had to win 3 out of the next 5 games, something like that. Now, if you are worried about this, do keep in mind this is only if you're going from rank to rank, not tier to tier. So if you're in Bronze 3 and you're moving into Bronze 2, you won't have any of these trials to do. But if you're in Bronze 1 and you're trying to go into Platinum, then you are going to have to do a trial. So it's not going to be every single time. Respawn has also stated that LP is going to be a little bit more generous. So moving from tier to tier is going to be a little bit easier. This is just Respawn's way of trying to combat the inflation of ranks just a little bit and keep a little bit more competitive integrity in the game. I personally think that these could be amazing. They do seem good on paper, but we have seen Respawn stuff that does look good on paper also backfire horribly, so we've got to wait until we actually see it in game. Now next up, there are going to be some legend changes coming into the game. Some nerfs, some buffs, so let's start off with the nerfs. And the big one is going to Bangalore. They've reduced the duration of her double time, they've reduced the smoke time, and they've reduced the stun hold on Rolling Thunder. Everything in Bangalore's kit is getting a nerf in some way, shape, or form. The big thing is probably the smoke time being reduced, but Bangalore was a huge problem in the current meta, and Respawn does typically nerf and buff based off of play rates, so this does kind of line up. I personally think that they did a little bit too much, touching everything in her kit, but it is kind of Respawn's theme to go big or go home. Now the next legend being nerfed is Catalyst. Her Tactical's core will no longer block projectiles, and you're only going to be able to have 2 of them out instead of 3. Now the core no longer blocking projectiles is going to be a little bit weird in my opinion, because how are you going to be able to destroy it? Is taking damage not the same as blocking projectiles? I'm not quite sure. But it is going to be a little bit easier to throw some grenades past it and stuff like that. But also it being reduced from 3 to 2 is going to be a huge hit to Catalyst for being able to lock down buildings. She wasn't the best at being able to do it, but now it's going to be a little bit harder for her to do it as well, so she's not going to be an amazing control legend when it comes to locking down areas. Her ultimate is also getting a nerf. They are reducing how long it lasts, and the cooldown now starts after the wall comes down. So it's kind of increasing the cooldown a little bit, but compared to other ultimates, she still has a pretty fast cooldown, and reducing how long it lasts is going to be a little bit of a nuisance, but I don't think it's going to be very game-changing for her. Overall, I don't think this is a huge hit to Catalyst, but it will still affect how she plays in game. Now the next changes for legends are going to be a little bit more rapid fire. First up, Wraith's passive is more reliable. I don't know what that means, but hey, they did it. Pathfinder can now scan care packages after a skirmisher has, so if your teammate accidentally scans a care package, you will still be able to scan it and get your cooldowns. Revenant's ult extension window has gone from 30 seconds to 3 seconds. Vantage gets 1 more bullet in her ultimate, maxing it at 6. And Newcastle has increased max height leap on his ultimate, and he also has faster recovery time on landing after he slams it down. Newcastle was already extremely broken, and they're giving him a buff. I love it. But the legends aren't the only thing getting some changes, because there are also some weapon changes. First off, the Wingman is going into the care package, and the L-Star is coming out. Now the Wingman is also getting a damage buff and the Skull Piercer when it does go into the care package. And care packages are now always going to spawn with a weapon in them at all stages of the game. So care packages are going to be very strong to get, even if you don't have a skirmisher to scan which one has the care package weapon, because they're all going to have one. Now next up, the crafty rotation, the RE45 and the 3030 are going onto the ground, and R301 and the Volt are going into the crafter. Also for the crafting rotation, the Digi Threat is no longer going to be craftable. It still does remain on floor loot, but there's no longer going to be a Digi Day for all you Bangalore players. The longbow, the Sentinel, and the Charge Rifle are also receiving a buff because they're getting increased projectile size, and the charge rifle is also getting some improvement on bullet drop ballistics. The respawn wants to make it feel more empowered to take shots at range. The Bocek is also getting faster draw speed, and there's going to be more flexibility with shatter caps with a tighter blast pattern, and you will also be able to toggle those off if you want to. They are also apparently reverting the turbocharger damage nerf, so I'm excited to see what the numbers are going to be when those come out. But with buffs, we are also receiving some nerfs. So first off, the Hemlock, there's a slight damage reduction, we don't know the number yet, and the 30-30 repeater is also getting increased hipfire spread with successive shots. Notably in this, there is no mention of the Nemesis getting a nerf, so I'm a little bit worried about that. But we will know more on Monday, October 30th when the full patch notes come out, so do be sure to check back in then. And I also want to know, what do you guys think about these patch notes so far? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you guys want us to update with the latest greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. Thanks all for watching once again, amazing email. See you guys in the next one.